Hello. I've been messing around with Atlas for the past few days because I've been feeling like punching people. So I thought I would make a video on it. I have primary blade charger equipped. So I get that nice 300% bonus from getting 1 kill off with primary initially. Without the extra crits. Damage is not that significant. The crits do have a very large impact on the damage, obviously. And when I do it is a different thing though. I mean, I have 2 builds for just the punching, which is probably why you would play Atlas normally. I have other one with Blade Charger and some extra AUG mods. For shield gating capabilities. And then I have other one just for the basic Atlas. Health tanking. And Rubble Heap. Rubble Heap doesn't work with the first one, since it makes your ability free, so you can't fully shield gate with it. You could shield gate with the other abilities if you want, so it's still applicable if you feel like you want the double range, double damage from the augment. Wrathful Advance is on there because, well, the punch only has 5% crit chance and status chance normally, so that flat chance bonus is gonna be really nice for it. You could also use something like Arcane Avenger. This is the old way of doing it without incarnates and fancy new buffs from Clervo. And then for the main dish is the static. You can use any incarnate weapon as long as you can get yourself a base crit chance bonus from it, since that does increase the basic 5% crit chance. So for me, because I'm using Nami solo, it's gonna be 26% base crit chance. It's not the highest one out of the incarnate weapons. And don't think, well, yeah, having it in incarnate form does affect it. The first build is with melee exposure. With each punch you're gonna be getting more of the melee damage bonus. This is for no setup, just running some faster missions like Exterminate and the like. It's just big flat damage bonuses without anything too fancy on it. Then I have another one that is much more crit oriented, and this one works a bit better even if you didn't have the Wrathful Advance, if you want to use some other helmet ability with it. So you can get permanent combo with the crescendo by doing a couple of finishes at first. That's gonna keep your blood rush up, and blood rush does also affect your punches. Something to keep in mind if you're thinking about using the galvanized mods is you would need to kill the enemies with your basic melee weapon. You can't stack these up with Atlas's Punch. They do. If you activate it first with your melee weapon, it does affect Atlas's Punch, but you can't stack it up or keep it active with Atlas's Punches. So something like this is more preferable. Also have more crit oriented Riven mod on there. This one. This is for Gara. Let's ignore that for now. Then I also have crit damage and crit chance one on there. That could also work for this, but it's not that big difference in actual gameplay. It's your Raven mods. You can choose whatever you want for the weapons. Things that affect the punches from stat stick are just statuses, crit chance, crit damage, any flat damage bonuses. Things like condition overload do not apply. So you are just wanting to put your biggest damage mods on there for it to deal as much damage as possible. That's why there was also the Spell Strike on the other build. Yep, I have 31. Also I have just crit damage from the Archon shards over there. It should be fine for enemies into few hundreds. This build is a pretty simple ability, so I don't know if it would be. Yeah, this is the crit build, isn't it? It is. Just get those guys in there. Well, fine. Do some finishers on these guys. Get the combo up. Oh, it already died. It's 10 times. A few more. And I should be done. Okay. Normally you would do that just with other normal enemies, obviously, in the mission. Stacking up the combo for the Blood Rush. The other one has the benefit of not needing this setup, because this can take you 1 or 2 minutes, which you wouldn't want to do in Exterminate mission. But this one, stacking the crit chance from other sources, you don't necessarily even need the Wrathful Advance, since these are level 122. You would normally need this much damage. Kill most enemies in most missions. If you feel like obliterating everything, going for a little bit longer survival or defense, you can always cast the Redfall if you have it on your build. If you wanna see some of the actual numbers, spawn an infested all group. Fought in mill. Punches after a little bit of punching combo. The combo you can see on your screen from punches 4x below the HUD is specifically the combo for the punches. It's completely separate from the Namisalo combo, so they multiply each other, making having both of the combos up pretty strong. Let's try this one. As far as I remember, if you're wanting to deal more damage, the petrification ability, at least third, does also make the enemies more vulnerable to his punches. If you feel like you're lacking in damage against something that's not Eximus unit. And that's also a good thing to keep in mind. If you don't have prevent mods for quote-unquote trash weapons. Shouldn't be too difficult to get yourself a proper stat stick for different frames. And you can use one weapon for multiple frames. Some of the stats are gonna be a bit different. Like the stats you want are gonna be a bit different for different frames, like Gara's glass doesn't crit. So you can have negative crit damage and it's not gonna affect the glass in any way whatsoever. As an example, I've also used this as a stat stick for Atlas before. This is from before melee arcanes, so it's a bit of an older one. Just a little extra tidbit in between. If you don't have a companion that can help with the energy economy, or you don't want to use the grimoire for a little bit of extra utility, you can swap one of these mods for streamline or stretch from this build to streamline if you also feel like you need it with this one. If you get about that 1.4k rebel, because you don't need to care about the energy efficiency as much as the ability you're gonna be casting the most is gonna be free. But if you, for example, don't have the rebel heap, you need to worry about your energy, then you can replace one of the mods with streamline. Not gonna be a big difference between the range 20 meters. Well, that's you want to cast it on enemies, so it doesn't really matter. Landslide is 3 meters. You're just gonna go back to the basic ranges. Okay, yeah, now actual mission. Got crit damage bonus from the company bond mod. I don't have any other weapons equipped besides the Namisalo. I'm on the health tanking build, and with a solo build that doesn't need any setup. So the damage isn't going to be as high as it would be on the one with better crits. But it should still be pretty big, unless it does punch hard. They just see 100 mil, 4 mil. Yeah. This is without setup abilities. Setup from arcanes and like 63 mil. 1.6 mil without crit bonuses. Mind that the damage numbers, the HP and the shields are separated there. So it's the actual damage was the two numbers counted together. Should an Eximus. Everything just turns to rubble and dust. A lot of people give shit to Atlas because he's not the most efficient at nuking rooms. Which is true, the AoE is only 2 meters. So even if you put 280 range on it, still only gonna be like 6 meters. Not really worth modding for, as long as you have some range. I don't wanna go negative, and the preferred is to have a little bit of range. Though 3 meters is still 50% range increase, so I would count it as significant. At least somewhat. And though it's only 1 extra meter. Hopefully, we're gonna get acolytes soon. The difference between not having crits and having crits is pretty huge. In my opinion, the extra damage from a rubble heap is not as significant, but being able to target enemies from twice as far away is really big bonus. I think the wording on the augment is faster, but in reality it actually doubles the range. You're able to target enemies with the punch. Which means you're gonna be manually walking between enemies less time, which means that you're gonna be immortal with grey HP bar more often. Which last time I checked, being immortal is pretty great for survivability. Okay, I have the build with the little bit of setting up to do. I was looking at the build I was using in the last mission. Oh cool. I had the wrong faction mod equipped for the whole last mission. So I essentially English with its T's is difficult. I basically just had an empty mod slot for the entire last mission. I didn't do anything because it was still for the routing faction, aka corrupted, instead of corpus. There's so much crit chance on this build that I'm getting diminishing crit chance, and I will probably benefit more from having one of the actual base damage mods on here. But, to be honest, I can't be bothered to change any of that because I'm mostly overkilling the enemies with tens of millions of damage. Getting to 100 mils more often wouldn't really change anything for this. Acolytes would die 300 levels with one hit. And same for the enemies. Good thing about this build is bosses are gonna be less resistant to this build. If you for some reason felt like you wanted to punch a space station and be low accurate Atlas, since they don't have as high damage reduction against crits. But most of the damage reduction excludes crits, and it's just based on that base damage. See, if that guy was one shot, and it was the 2 shot for the other build with less crits. I wonder when they're playing and showing up. Yeah. Timing. Oh. Yeah. Excellently. This rifle advance at first. It didn't do that much. Doesn't have the shield, but still. Be confident I would have been more than easily just one shot there if I like the build. They are supposed to resist this build less than the other one. There's more raw damage and less crit. Well, anyways, that's it for this video. So thanks for watching, and I hope you have a lovely rest of the day.